What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Bull Season 1, Episode 8, Too Perfect. Let's talk about what's good and what's bad about this episode. Because, being honest, I still enjoy this show, but there were definitely some issues that I did have in this one. The first, obviously, being the fact that this story is so overplayed. I say that a lot, and I realize that you do have a lot of repeating stories nowadays. I mean, it's hard not to repeat a story that's already been done. But here's the problem. When you do it in such a way that it doesn't feel new, it's even more obvious that you're doing a cliche. You know, like, if you did it in a way that you're just like, oh, that's a new take on it, I've never seen that before, it's not as painful, isn't it? You're just like, oh, that's new. And then you start to think about it, you're like, I have seen that before, but not like this. In this case, I've seen this done before. I know exactly what's going to happen. I've seen the whole, oh, brother and sister don't get along. By the end of it, you just realize that the older sibling was putting too much onto the younger sibling, and they're getting along by the end of it. Even between Bull and, what's her name? Isabella. Even between those two, the divorced couple, by the end of the episode, they're probably going to end up getting together because they start to realize, oh, maybe we are supposed to be together. I've seen it done before, and they didn't do anything new with it. They didn't do anything unique. It was all just pretty much straightforward, exactly what you'd expect. The one that thinks that they're in the right ultimately has to admit, oh, actually I'm in the wrong. And they even did the one where both of them were in the wrong, and they both have to admit, you know what, I'm in the wrong. And so that admission is enough to reconcile. Okay. So clearly, I did not like the story for these people. What is good, though, the trial part is still really fun to watch. And that sounds kind of weird. You're just like, what? Watching a trial is fun? They do make it kind of enjoyable because you want to see what's going to happen next. You see, oh, two of the jurors are hooked up. And now the mirror jurors of those people have to hook up, but they're not wanting to. If they don't get them to hook up, well, it affects the results of the mock jury. And that's kind of interesting. What do you do in that situation? Well, we're trying to force them to hook up, but they're not going to. I don't understand. Why aren't they doing it? And they start to realize, wait, it's because the real jury are forbidden. We haven't forbidden it yet. So then they forbid it, and that's when they start to hook up a little bit. And even though it's kind of stupid, it's just like, really, this is what we're concerned about in the trial? At the same time, it is. It does fit into the story. It does fit into what's actually going on with the jury. And not every case is going to have this. Not every case is going to be, oh, we have to hook up these two people. It's probably going to be one time in this entire season that two jurors hook up, and they have to hook up the two mock jurors as well. I don't see it being a common occurrence. I just think it was a fun little thing thrown in, a little bit of a hinge in the trial that they have to now figure out how to solve. And it was kind of funny to watch. The rest of it is very interesting. You've got pretty much you've got an interesting little trial going on where this Isabella looks like she's in the wrong. It looks like, well, it must have been negligence on her part that caused the bee pollen to get into the girl's smoothie, and that's what killed her because of anaphylactic shock. And so it seems like it's going to be hard to win this case, because how do you prove that she wasn't the negligent party? How do you prove that? Well, you can't unless you can test whatever powder she was using, and you can't test it. So that's kind of the difficult part in all of this, and that's what makes it really fun to figure out, how are they going to figure it out? How are they going to win this case? Because clearly, even if it was negligence, even if it was like, oh, pollen from a different company, some of that just doesn't feel like it's really her fault. If it was the one where they went to a different factory that had a lower rating, and that's where the pea pollen came from, okay, yeah, I could see that as possibly her assistant's fault for doing that. And then you could possibly put the blame onto her for working too hard, but that's like the extent of it. If it was just bee pollen happened to be near the factory on a certain day, for some reason the bee pollen swept up in the wind and happened to go to this factory, if that was really the case, I just don't see how you could possibly sue a company for that. That's like, they have nothing to do with that. How is that their fault? I don't know. It seemed a little bit strange, but it seemed like they didn't have much to throw against it either. And that was the big problem in this. They didn't really have much proof against the fact that it wasn't her company's fault. Well, it wasn't technically her company's fault, because really, how can that be somebody's fault? Anyway, the rest of it was pretty enjoyable, though. We see that there's a little bit of a problem with the husband. Apparently he was having an affair. Let's talk about him leaving her. What if he's the culprit? What if he actually put Bee Pollen in there to kill her? And, it's kind of a possibility, but they're not really... It's almost like they're throwing the possibility out there for the jurors to latch onto. And, frankly, it ends up being correct. And once again, like I said, with the first and, I think, third case, something like... There were a couple cases where it was a murder mystery, and ultimately it wasn't really a mystery. They had the murder. It was a question of who did it. It wasn't our client, so who could it possibly be? Well, they don't focus on that. They focus on the trial. They focus on getting the client innocent. And then at the end of the episode, they just kind of throw in, oh yeah, this person was guilty. That's what they did here again. So it's kind of showing me the murder part of it, the mystery part of it. That's not really what the show's about. It's there. It's a part of the case. But what's really the focus is the trial. It's focused on how are they going to win over the jury. There's a mystery juror that ends up there that acts like she is, she has no idea who Isabella is. She is not a fan at all. And so she fits the criteria, and unfortunately the lawyer falls for it and lets her in on the jury. So now they've got a juror that they believe is going to vote liable. And so now what are they going to do about that? How are they going to fix that? Well, you got to show Isabella being vulnerable. I like that stuff. I like watching them work. I like watching them sort of figure out, okay, clearly they are working for the truth. And even though it seems kind of immoral to be messing with the jury's emotions like this, you kind of understand it's for a good cause. And that's the point of the show. They're not fighting to get a guilty client off. They are fighting to get the truth proven. It's just sometimes the truth isn't enough for a jury, so they have to win them over in other ways. And that's really the focus of the show, and I enjoy watching it. It's not a mystery. It's not a whodunit. It's not anything involving like, oh, here's a case that needs to be solved. No, it's watching them try to help somebody innocent be found innocent. Even if the truth is there for the jury to see, they just can't see it. And so that's what the team is here for. They're here to help the jury see the truth. They're here to help the jury find their way to the truth. And that's the enjoyment of it. So that's why I like it. If you don't, let me know why in the comment section down below. What is it about the show that just rubs you the right way or the wrong way? And let me know. We can talk about it, discuss it. Leave a like and subscribe for future Bull reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.